Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. We are already to week 6. So out of 20 weeks, we are 30% done with this season, and that, I shouldn't have said that because that makes me sad. We're slowly creeping up to halfway point, man. We're slowly creeping up to the halfway point of the season, and that is scary to think about because not all the teams will play half their games and stuff, but you know what I'm saying. Week 10 out of 20, we're about a month away from that. It's crazy to think about. We're about a month away from the American Dream Mall games, man. So that's crazy to think about too. But another thing that's crazy to think about, we're starting Friday games. We got 2 games today, tonight, whenever you watch this, to preview and go through, and we've got a rivalry that's renewed because now we've got a Sunshine Showdown, and we've got a throw out the record books between Quad City and San Diego because these two teams don't like each other. They've only played 3 times. But yeah, we got some Friday games to talk about. We're going to roughly have a Friday game between now and the end of the season, roughly 1 to 2 per week. There'll be some weeks where you don't, but again, we're starting to trickle in Friday games as the weekends start to become a little bit longer. Another slate of all 14 teams playing. We preview these 2. We got 3 on Saturday, we got 2 on Sunday, and we just kind of go from there. So I'm done rambling. Let's go preview Orlando and Jacksonville. All right, we need to talk the Sunshine Showdown. I don't know if that's copyright and trademarked, but it is by me now, baby. But yeah, Massachusetts, which already kind of had a rivalry with Jacksonville going all the way back to the National Arena League when both those teams were in there. And now, just a couple seasons ago, Jacksonville comes over from the National Arena League after Orlando had already done so, and they renew it. But now Orlando's relocated to Orlando. Kind of spoiled it there, but yeah, now we've got a Sunshine Showdown. 2 Florida teams now battling it out, but the rivalry's not lost. You know, whether it's the Jacksonville fans still saying that 13-2 or 13-4, whatever it is, them beating the Orlando prior team Predators, all of that stuff. I know the Orlando Predators, but follow along here. So it's either that or what you see right there, 4-1 in favor of the Pirates being from Massachusetts and stuff. And this is just the Indoor Football League. I'm not counting anything National Arena League or from the Predators or anything like that, but we'll talk about that in 1 second. We are on overnight, and it is a 7 p.m. Eastern time kickoff, so subscribe if you haven't. I think the whole month and everything's gone out. I don't know if there's still discounts. You might still be able to get discounts. I don't know, but I'm paying for it. What can you do? We've got the 3-0 Orlando Pirates, the last undefeated team in the league here, traveling to Jacksonville, the home opener for the Sharks. And what better way to open your home slate than against your rival? Regardless if it's Massachusetts or Orlando, it is bad blood between these two. They don't like each other. Throw out the record books, whatever cliches you want to use. Jacksonville being 1-1, they haven't played at home yet. Orlando's just had the 1 away game, so that's where we go. Taking a look at our season leaders for both sides here. Paxton De Laurent, 50 of 70, 532 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. Not bad. Jacksonville has James Cahoon at 26 of 43, 357 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Our rushing leaders for both sides, Paxton De Laurent, 25 attempts, 110 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And again, I need to say this every single time. These are the Indoor Football League stats. Take it with a grain of salt. Are they right? Are they wrong? Who knows? This is what they're rolling with. Jimmy Robinson, 25 attempts as well, 85 yards, 5 touchdowns, because again, I don't believe that. T.O. Redding, 15 catches, 187 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. And Red Douglas for Jacksonville, 7 catches, 125 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns for himself. So again, stats can say whatever you want. If they're right, if they're not, they're there. I'm just going to use them. I'm not a fan, but that's just blowing hot air, man. Injury report for both sides. A couple of players added for both teams here. For Orlando, Hector Johnson still on short-term injured reserve, but Jock Bristol and Dexter Lawson Jr. have both been added. And going to the Jacksonville sides of things, Larry Elder, he was added a week ago. Robert Jones III, he was just added here. So a little bit of defensive back depth kind of hitting Jacksonville a little bit right there, and some defensive depth for both sides there. Orlando getting a bunch of defensive players on short-term injured reserve, but they have gotten a couple of players off of short-term injured reserve too, so we'll talk about that in the 25-man roster. Taking a look at our game odds here presented by DraftKings, we have a 2.5-point favorite for the Sharks. Okay. Home field advantage, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe the Orlando not having their head coach, maybe that's catching up. I don't know, because I think Orlando was the underdog. Or no, they were favored but plus money last week. This time they're not. Everything is a straight one or minus 110. So 2.5-point favorites for the Sharks, 2.5-point underdogs for the Pirates. Over under of 89.5 here. So they are expecting some points. They are. And plus 120 for the Pirates and minus 142 for the Sharks. So again, it's kind of weird. The undefeated team is the road underdog here, but okay, we'll go with it. We are at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, this game being on overnight with a 7 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. And our series head-to-head, like I mentioned earlier, Orlando, 4-1 in favor of the Pirates here. Their last meeting being Week 11 of 2025 with the Pirates taking it 43-29. So it's been quite a while since these teams have played each other, practically an entire season almost, in the sense of a whole entire half a season, and it's not quite half a season here, but it's been a long time since these two teams have met, so we get to see how it kind of goes, man. We will. And Orlando looking to just get a stronger stranglehold on a 5-1. Jacksonville trying to get into it 4-2 and get their way back to 500 when it comes to this rivalry here. So with this, we do need to go take a look at our 25-man roster, dive a little bit deeper into the X's and O's kind of thing, talk players, how they're going to go and everything like that with our preview, prediction, and best bet, everything like that. And then we move on to preview number 2 after that, since we've got 2 games tonight on Friday. All right, we need to take a look at the 25-man rosters. As they're on the screen, we take a look at the away side first for the Orlando Pirates. James Blackman and Paxton De Laurent are your quarterbacks. De Laurent has started all of the games so far. James Blackman been backup. I see nothing changing. So De Laurent will be your starting quarterback. James Blackman will be your backup. Blackman, since he's been signed on, is suited up every game. So I think more of the same here. Only running back on the roster for the Pirates is Puka Williams. So again, nothing really changing when it comes to that. Your wide receivers, Isaiah McCoy, Nyquan Murray, Teo Redding, Jacob Copeland, coming off a short-term injured reserve, and Thomas Owens. Name you do not see there, Dante Wright, the kick returner who's returned 3 straight kick returns in 3 straight games. He is off to the Canadian Football League, so he's not here. So we'll see who can kind of take his place, not just in the wide receiving room, but in the kick return game as well. So if everything is status quo, Murray, Redding, and Owens will be your starting wide receivers. We'll see if McCoy finally suits up. We'll see if Jacob Copeland suits up. We'll see how it kind of goes. Offensive line, Jordan McRae, Natai Rogers, Nick Jones, Darda Lee, and Jeremiah Crawford. And I'm trying to remember who started last week. So I'm pretty sure it was McRae, Rogers, and it might have been Nick Jones or Jeremiah Crawford. I know Crawford played, but regardless, you got 5. You'll start 3. We'll see if everyone goes. And I think Darda Lee played. So you had 4 offensive linemen. They might do the same when it comes to that this week. We'll see who the 4 to 5 players are. Defensively, Randy Carlton. I'm going to go Carlton this time around. I'd switch it around. Mike Mason, DJ Dale, and Devin Brant Epps. Brant Epps coming off of short-term injured reserve. Carlton has suited up, and someone's going to have to take Jock Bristol's place. So I'm assuming Carlton's going to suit up and go into that spot. But Brant Epps, maybe he's the guy. I'm not sure. But Mason and Dale are kind of your mainstays on the defensive line as of right now, with Bristol being the other one. So we'll see who kind of fills into that 3rd spot when it comes to the Pirates. Linebackers, Latavius Breeny and Kerry Coleman. Breeny's most likely your starter. Coleman's gotten some snaps. He's played quite a bit too, so I look for both those guys to suit up as well. And in the secondary, DJ Daniel, Roe Torrance, Destin Mack, Will Sunderland, and Darren Evans. Darren Evans, that 3rd guy coming off of short-term injured reserve. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty sure it's, Dexter Lawson, I don't know if he's suited up for an entire game yet, or if he's suited up at all. He might have, but I'm not sure. For the Pirates, though, it's mainly those top 4. Daniel, Torrance, Mack, and Sunderland have kind of been your guys. We'll see if Evans suits up, how it kind of goes here, carrying your 22-man roster for the game day. Go from there. Axel Perez is your kicker. That's your 25-man roster for the Orlando Pirates. Moving over to the Jacksonville side of things, James Cahoon and Sammy Edwards are your quarterbacks. Cahoon is most likely your starter, Sammy Edwards being your backup. Jimmy Robinson, the only running back on the roster, just like Puka Williams on the other side, so no backup or anything there. He's most likely going to start. Wide receivers, this has kind of been a cluster. Markel Wade, Billy Bowens, Jaden Stoshak, Red Douglas, Jalen May, and Lowell Patron. And I think a lot of these guys have suited up, except, Stoshak's suited up if I'm not mistaken. But Patron, I think he got a touchdown last week. Markel Wade's been playing really, really well. And Red Douglas, we'll see if he gets over his illness from what he had last week. Billy Bowens has actually been kind of a surprise as well, all things considered. So we'll see out of those 6 guys how many of them suit up. But you'll probably need quite a bit of them since you need some depth there at those skill positions. So we'll see how it kind of goes. Offensive line for the Sharks, Baraka Beckett, Dante Lucas, Chasen Hines, and Kenny Furman. I think all 4 might suit up. I don't know if Hines will. I know Beckett, Lucas, and Furman have been kind of your starters. We'll see how it goes. I know Hines has suited up in 1 or 2 of the games. Actually, they've only played 2 games, so maybe he's done it for both. But regardless, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes because otherwise they'll carry the 3 linemen, take it from there. Defensively, Chris Rice, Devontae Davis, Jalen Williams, and D'Amico Rowland on that defensive line. More of the same here, man. I think all 4 have suited up in all of the games, if I'm not mistaken, and it's kind of just been Chris Rice, D'Amico Rowland, and I think Jalen Williams with Devontae Davis being a super sub. Could be mistaken. Memory is hazy. You do this enough and all the names and numbers start to blend together. But yeah, we'll see how it goes with that. Linebacker Isaiah Major, there's no backup plan for him, so unless they get a secondary guy or one of the defensive linemen to go, he's your linebacker. Secondary, Clay Fields, John Huggins, Chris Chukwuneke, Dylan Brown, and new signing Aaron Gathers. So we'll see if he gets thrown into the fire. I'm believing those top 4 guys are going to be your starters, with Gathers probably suiting up and needing to play if needed. They might go all 4 the entire game. Gathers gets in for maybe a snap or 2 or whatever the case could be. But Fields, Huggins, Chukwuneke, and Dylan Brown are most likely going to be your starters for the Sharks. Your kicker is Mark Orozco, and that is your 25-man roster for your Jacksonville Sharks. That was your 25-man roster for your Orlando Pirates. I almost said Predators. My goodness. Orlando Pirates. There we go. At least I'm not calling them mass. Anyway, that's your 25-man roster. Let's go take a look at our bet and our prediction, as we need to kind of figure this game out a little bit. All right, we need to talk bet and prediction. Y'all want an upset that's not necessarily an upset? Minus 142 for the Jacksonville Sharks. Orlando's been living on the edge. Is this the week that it finally comes down to earth? I'm calling my shot and saying yes. They needed overtime to beat Tulsa. Now Tulsa needed a game-tying field goal as time expired to get it to overtime, but mistakes in that game for Orlando, mistakes in the Quad City game, mistakes in the New Mexico game. Like, they're living on a razor's edge. Can they get through with Jacksonville here? Now, Jacksonville had kind of a tough time against Vegas, and they kind of blew out Northern Arizona. So, again, it's Northern Arizona. They're kind of the punching bag right now, unless your name's the Iowa Barnstormers, or maybe San Antonio. But, again, we're talking Jacksonville. I think the Sharks have an opportunity here. They're home for the first time in the entire season. They are probably pissed off about how they lost to Vegas, and they get their crowd. Does the casino, know something that we don't of why they're favored by 2.5? I'm not sure. Now, my heart wants to take Orlando to keep this gravy train rolling. I do like the wide receivers and the passing game that Orlando has been able to produce. Paxton De Laurent has been a breath of fresh air from what Kenji Bahar and what Orlando has had, even Talia Tagovailoa in his start last season. It's been a breath of fresh air when it comes to the Orlando Pirates offense from what they were in Massachusetts. Puka Williams is gaining it a little bit back. They probably could have ran a little bit better, but at the same time, we'll see how it kind of goes. Defensively, they are giving up points. They gave up 55 to Tulsa. It could have been more if Tulsa converted in overtime and things like that. They gave up 46 to Quad City. They gave up, 38 to New Mexico. So maybe the over's in play here a little bit. Maybe the defense, if Jacksonville, with James Cahoon being able to throw the ball around, if Markel Wade and Jaden Stoshak or Billy Bowens or Red Douglas or whoever, if both these passing games can get going, maybe the over's in play a little bit here. I do like Jacksonville's offense. I think they might have ran into a buzzsaw a little bit because you did have to go to the banner raising ceremony against Vegas, and you kind of knew that they weren't going to do anything bad there. There was the pick six. There were some mental mistakes and the turnovers and stuff like that. So Jacksonville did kind of come back a little bit, made the game look more respectable. They didn't quit by any means. So this is a fresh start, back home, fans in the building. The shark tank will be a rockin'. Their stupid inflatable shark, who I have my own personal beef with because he gets in the camera shots. I mean, yeah, man, I like Jacksonville in this one. I don't know why. Now, the logic in me is saying, you idiot, pick Orlando. They're undefeated. But all good things have to come to an end, and I'm calling my shot here. I think there's an opportunity for this Jacksonville secondary. If they can shut down this passing game, we've seen how Orlando kind of operates with a lack of a running game. It leaves a little bit to be desired as of right now. Now, can they get that going? I'm not sure. Jimmy Robinson has been really good out of the backfield. I like what the Sharks have when it comes to that. And I do like how Jock Bristol is hurt. That benefits Jacksonville with that as well. So maybe there won't be nearly as much of a pass rush if you have one of their star defensive linemen hurt. But Latavius Brini will maybe make up for that with the blitzes. I mean, he was blitzing Quad City like crazy. He was getting, all over Tulsa as well. So, yeah, I mean, hell, Jock Bristol and company were hitting Tulsa for losses as well too. So if you can limit that, maybe sky's the limit. I'm not sure. My prediction for this one, 46-41. Now, Vegas is predicting it closer. I'm going under, slightly. That's the reason why Vegas has it where it is. But I like almost a touchdown for Jacksonville. I think there's something here where if they can work their own turnovers, if they can get Orlando to become undisciplined and start making some mistakes, I think Orlando had, 3 turnovers against Quad City and still pulled out the victory there. They can't keep getting away with it, man. So there's going to be a point in time where something like that comes and bites them in the butt. I think this might be the time. Either turnovers or something, some mental mistakes. There are some times where they've missed on 4th down or had to go with glorified punts and long field goals and stuff like that. I think Jacksonville has an opportunity to catch them off guard. So I like if Jacksonville can get Orlando's defense on their heels, and we saw, again, what Quad City did, what Tulsa did. Tulsa throwing it all over the yard. Look at what T.J. Edwards had when it came to passing yards, whether you believe the numbers or not. Jerminic Smith, Spencer Tiers, Cassian Foreman, the whole group, the whole shebang, 312 passing yards. James Cahoon's a pocket passer. I think that benefits Jacksonville a little bit. And if the wide receivers can get separation in this defense, I think this could be a game where Markel Wade, I don't know who they're suiting up, but Markel Wade, Billy Bowens, Jaden Stoshak, Lowell Patron, Red Douglas, whoever they have, Jimmy Robinson out of the backfield. I think this is an opportunity for Jacksonville to take advantage of that defense. Now, again, Orlando can get pressure. Orlando's proven that they can get tackles for losses, and they can win kind of these shootouts. So if it does get into a higher point shootout, Orlando might be a little bit in favor right here. But I digress. I do think that this could be a higher scoring game. I think Jacksonville just pulls out one more stop, one more interception, one more turnover, whatever it could be. I think Jacksonville pulls it out here. So my prediction for this, 46-41 in favor of the Sharks. I got them at minus 142 on the money line, and kind of go from there. Now I know the odds are better when it comes to the spread, but I'm just picking a straight up win. It could be a touchdown. They just need to win by 1. Simple as that. So, yeah, I don't know if it's a wrong team favorite because everything in me is going, dude, pick Orlando. They're undefeated. Jacksonville, they looked bad last week. I can't go with that recency bias. I think Jacksonville pulls it here. And it might be an upset even if Jacksonville's favored. So, that's where we have it. We need to go take a look at our second preview. All right, let's get ready for preview number 2. And these two teams do not like each other. They have not played since 2023. It's been a bitter rivalry, just champing at the bit to get back together for an opportunity to destroy one another. No, I'm just kidding. It's just Quad City versus San Diego, and we have to preview it. Now, again, these two teams haven't played each other in almost 3 years, or actually over 3 years. It's kind of insane, but a lot has changed since 2023 in terms of the league and the teams and everything like that. So it's kind of crazy how I admire it, though. We do need more intra-conference, I guess, whatever one it is. My brain's fried right now. I think it's intra because inter means you're intra means shut up. I know what I'm talking about. Shut up. I told you my brain's fried, man. Anyway, Quad City 2-2. They're 0-2 on the road. San Diego 2-1. 1-0 at home. So, do the trends continue? We know Quad City's not that good on the road. We know San Diego pretty good at home, all things considered. But either way, it's a 10 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. So, yeah, it's a late night game for the people on the East Coast and in the Central time zone. As this game probably won't get over till 11:30 Central time, give or take. Don't even wish for overtime, man. But anyway, We are on the Yahoo Sports Network. So Yahoo's got a big week ahead of them for, I think they've got 5 of the 7 games. You see the ticker down below. But yeah, they got their work cut out for them this week, man. Let's take a look at our season leaders on the left side of the screen. For the Quad City Steamwheelers, Daquan Neal is your leading passer, 52 of 91. These are Indoor Football League stats. Take them with a grain of salt or don't. Blindly trust them. Who knows? 52 of 91, 582 passing yards, 15 passing touchdowns. I think he leads the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns, all things considered. 4 interceptions to go along with it. Nate Davis for San Diego is your leading passer, 53 of 88, 535 passing yards, 9 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Neal is also your leading rusher, and according to the Indoor Football League, I think he's your leading rusher when in terms of yardage as well, too. So right now, 6 weeks into the season, Daquan Neal kind of in that MVP category. 35 attempts, 218 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Not to be outdone, kind of outdone, but not too much. Edward Vander, he's been having a hell of a season himself, too. 31 rushing attempts, 123 rushing yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. And again, from what San Diego, and I've mentioned this in the recap, what San Diego's been able to accomplish in the running game this year has been really good. They've incorporated more runs into this season than I would wager probably all last year, man. It's been insane that Edward Vander and the jet sweeps and everything that they've been able to accomplish, it's worked to their benefit. The offense is kind of given a little bit of a rebirth when it comes to that. Leading receivers, Kean Williams, 14 catches, 193 yards, and 7 touchdowns through the air. So he is pretty much the go-to guy for Daquan Neal. Almost half the touchdowns are his. And then Jalen Sample for San Diego, 17 catches, 154 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. So kind of the same thing. Roughly half the passing touchdowns from Nate Davis are going to Sample. So both quarterbacks have kind of found their guy. Injury report for Quad City, it's still the same, man. Something like it's been over a month. Marquis Whitlock, still there. For San Diego, nothing changes for them. Either Arthur Jackson and Dallas Holiday stay on there from, 10 days ago, whatever the case could be. We just kind of move on. Nothing really doing in terms of injuries. Taking a look at our game odds presented by DraftKings. The Steamwheelers are favorites. Okay. You know that they're not good on the road, right? Vegas, knock, knock. You know they're not good on the road, right? Anyway, they are 3.5-point favorites on the road. So 3.5-point underdogs for the San Diego Strike Force with an over-under of 84.5. And it's actually more juiced to the plus 3.5 for San Diego, minus 105. So you get a little bit better of a return if you're betting them to cover. Minus 166 to the money line, so there's your favorite for Quad City. And if you want the home underdog upset, plus 140 if you want San Diego to win the game with that bet. So we are at Front Wave Arena in beautiful Oceanside, California. I say it's beautiful because it looks beautiful in pictures, and when they do like the drone footage and stuff like that from outside the arena, it looks beautiful. I'm jealous of Trey from Off the Wall for being there, so shout out to you. I hate you for right now, but anyway, got my own set of surprises we'll be talking about throughout the weekend. Anyway, 10 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. We are on the Yahoo Sports Network. Already mentioned that, but want to reiterate it as well. Like I said, Yahoo got their work cut out for them, but that means it's free for you guys. Go watch these games, baby. And we got to reignite this rivalry. 3-0 in favor of the Steamwheelers. So maybe that's where Vegas, the casino, is looking at it. Their last meeting being week 2 of 2023 with Quad City pulling out a 49-47 victory. And if my memory serves me correctly, I think this is when, I want to say this is when San Diego had Aaron Aiken and Demery Croft, maybe. This might have been before the trade with Duke City. Now, I could be completely wrong here, but I think this is when they still had Aaron Aiken and Demery Croft, because I think Aiken had at one point been with Quad City, and Croft obviously last year was with them too, so it's kind of weird how it's all full circle, but at the same time, yeah, weird small world when it comes to the Indoor Football League with that. But either way, Quad City pulling out the victory. Rambled on enough, and I'm not going to try and rack my brain going like, when did they trade for Nate Davis? Either way, he's a Strike Force now. Strike Force player. He's a Strike Forcer. Whatever, I don't know what to call him. Anyway, he's a football player for the San Diego Strike Force. Anyway, rambling. We need to go talk 25-man rosters, bet and prediction. We move on from all of that stuff. We wrap everything up and we get out of here. All right, 25-man roster is on the screen. Take a look at the away side as we always do. For the Quad City Steamwheelers, Daquan Neal and Judd Roberts are your quarterbacks. Daquan Neal getting the start, Judd Roberts being the backup. Now, Roberts has gotten into a game or two for some mop-up duty, but Neal's going to take the brunt of it. The dude's he's doing it all right now, and I'm surprised, and we'll talk a little bit in a minute about the offense and how they've come alive, but yeah, Neal's got it going. Running backs, Trenton Barnes and Jared Ware. Ware's going to be your starter, with Barnes being special teams and your backup. I mean, he'll spell in when he needs to, but Jared Ware's kind of got it going as well. Wide receivers include Kean Williams, Jalal Dean, Kevon Rudd, and Jordan Vesey. And Kevon Rudd setting the clocks back, doing everything, man. He had one hell of a game against Green Bay. Kean Williams was kind of quiet, but if you can combine the two, Kean Williams having a good game, Kevon Rudd having a good game, Jordan Vesey showing up. He's showing up too. Jalal Dean, I don't know if he was on the stat sheet at all, but either way, all of these guys have been kind of, had little breakout games here and there. Kean Williams obviously being the main one. But if you can get that thing going, we'll see how it goes. Offensive line, Joel Krell, Ed Gatling, Matthew Kickle, and Lionel Whittingham. Kickle being the odd man out, as Krell, Gatling, and Whittingham are going to most likely be your starters. Kickle has suited up since his trade over from Jacksonville. So all four guys are probably going to suit up for the offensive line, and we'll see how it kind of goes. Defensively, Charles Rosser, David Abel-Arinwa, Keyshawn Moore, Chima Dunga, and Rashawn Williams. Charles Rosser actually being a really good addition to that defensive line to go along with Moore, Dunga, and Williams. We'll see who gets the start, because I think Rosser might have started last week if I'm not mistaken. Either way, Keyshawn Moore is most likely going to start. Chima Dunga or Rashawn Williams will both either start, or one of them is going to start. And we'll see if Rosser fits into the roster. Boom. I haven't seen too much of David Abel-Arinwa, so we'll see if he suits up at all or how he gets it going. If he does, cool. I don't know how many defensive linemen they're going to carry into this game. Linebacker is Alex Harriet. Again, you can tell how tired I am because my words are slipping up. Alex Harriet is your linebacker, and not a bad game for him. I know, again, this position is going to be highly scrutinized with what Bubba Arslanian's done in the last couple of seasons. Harriet showed out against Green Bay, all things considered. Had a pretty good game, so hoping for more from him in this one, as he's going to need it going up against Nate Davis and his rocket arm. To the secondary, Jamon Williams, Caleb Coleman, Kevin Ransom II, Nicholas Harris, Malik Duncan, and Cameron Harrell to round it out. I am curious to see if Malik Duncan makes the trip, because he didn't make the trip in the last away game that Quad City had, and that was down in Orlando. So I don't know if he's going to make the trip again. I hope he does. He played, all things considered, pretty well against Green Bay. Kevin Ransom, balling out this season. I talked to a guy who works for Quad City. His name's Casey. Shout out Casey if you're watching this. Kind of told him that Kevin Ransom might be, minus Kean Williams, the best signing that Quad City has so far this offseason, because the way that he's been playing in the secondary has been really good. But your starters, most likely Ransom, Duncan, Harrell, and we'll see who gets the fourth one, whether it's Harris, whether it's Coleman, or whether it's Williams. We'll see. But I think they've all rotated at some point for it, but you kind of have your mainstays with Duncan, Ransom, and Harrell with it. Kicker is Jan Bogdan, and that's your 25-man roster for the Quad City Steamwheelers. To the San Diego side of things, Davis Black and Nate Davis. You can combine the names to Nate Davis Black. I think that every time I read the names. Either way, Nate Davis going to be your starter. Davis Black going to be your backup. They all have suited up. Davis has started every game. Davis Black has gotten into a couple of games when he's needed to. We'll see. Running backs, Edward Vander and Tyrell Green Jr. I haven't seen Green Jr. suit up in 2 weeks since their first game, I think. So I'm not sure what's going on there, or if they're just relying on Edward Vander. We'll see how it kind of goes. To the wide receiver, Shane Hooks, Dallas Daniels, and Jalen Sample with Cole Blackman. Cole Blackman, I don't believe, played in their game against Tucson, and I'm not sure, with Green not suiting up or playing, Cole Blackman being out, I don't know how the depth of the attrition right now for the skill positions for San Diego is kind of going, because I think all Hooks, Daniel, Sample, and Vander played the entire game. I don't think any of them got a rest unless a defensive back randomly came in. Offensive linemen, speaking of no rest here, there's no depth at this position either. Christoph Atkinson, Ivory Scott, and Jalen Booth. Ivory Scott being a former Quad City Steamwheeler, so maybe he knows a little dilly-dally to relay to San Diego on how to do things. Defensively, Wallace Cowens, Afanya Maije, Adam Anderson, Jackson Craven, and Rashawn Yates. I think all 5 of these guys played against Tucson and have all kind of played, I think, every single game. They've gone with 5 deep to rotate and do stuff like that. I think Cowens and Maije have been kind of your super subs, with Anderson, Craven, and Rashawn Yates now becoming the starters, as those were the 3 guys that started against Tucson, with Cowens and Maije being on the bench, but again, they did rotate them in. Linebacker is Roy C. No depth there, so no backup. And in the secondary, Devin Hafford, Herman Smith, William Barber, Trajan Anderson Watts, Jelani Jefferson, and Elijah Reed to round it out. No Anderson, Watts, or Jefferson against Tucson in that game, so they really ran with 4. And like I said, maybe they didn't, I can't remember, but I think they only ran with 4 in the defensive backs. Maybe, now I'm thinking, actually maybe Anderson Watts was on the bench, but either way, they were lacking some depth there. I think they only had 21 out of the 22 possible guys in the 22-man roster that you could suit up and play. So we'll see if more of that is the same here, but they are at home, so they should have the bodies, I'm sure. Your kicker is Ernesto Lacayo. That's your 25-man roster for your San Diego Strike Force. That was your 25-man roster for your Quad City Steamwheelers. And with that, we need to go take a look at our best bet, our prediction, and we'll wrap everything up. We'll get out of here. All right. So we are going to talk best bet and our prediction. Now, our best bet with this one, over 84.5. San Diego's given up some points, even to teams like Northern Arizona and Tucson, and they got destroyed by Arizona. So they've gone through the Arizona gauntlet, the trifecta, and they're 2-1. And in those 2 games that they've won, I think everyone, if you would have asked them, should they have won those games, I think everyone would have been like, yeah, of course. They should have beaten Northern Arizona. They should have beaten Tucson. And some of those games were close. Was it 45-40 against, or no, 48-42, excuse me, 48-42 in favor of the Strike Force, and then 42-40 as they beat Northern Arizona. So they've given up 40 points in all their games. Quad City has scored 40-plus points in all of their games except their first one against Fishers, where, again, if you want to throw that out, okay, you can. I'm not going to, but you can make those caveats. Either way, Quad City scored 51 last week. They've scored 46 in their loss to Orlando. They beat Iowa and scored 46, so, I mean, they can put up points as well, too. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over 84.5 here. I think both these offenses can sling it around. The defenses are giving up points, too. Quad City's, they're giving up 45 points to Fishers. They're giving up. They looked better against Green Bay. They only gave up 36, but I guess round up. I don't know. And then they played Iowa. So I know Iowa, first game for them, they kind of stunted on them a little bit. So I think San Diego can put some points up on Quad City and kind of exploit that defense, especially when it comes to Edward Vander leaking out of the backfield. I think both these teams are going to use their running backs to their advantage to catch passes. The difference is going to be and again, it's no secret, we say it every time with San Diego, can you stop the passing game with Nate Davis? Can you put pressure on him and ruin his timing? Can you jam the wide receivers at the line of scrimmage? Can you, get wide receivers off of their timing, off of their chemistry with him, and get Nate Davis in his head? Because once he starts doing that, you saw it against Tucson. There were turnovers. There were times where he was throwing it up there. He got picked. There were fumbles. There's an opportunity there for Quad City to take advantage. Kevin Ransom, I think they said in the broadcast against Green Bay, he's got 4 interceptions in 4 games. Here's just a more, I guess. San Diego, too. Can you lock down Kean Williams? Can you make this team one-dimensional and make it the DeQuan Neal show and make him try to do everything? Because when you do that, then you start to get a little bit flustered. If you can't get that offense going for Quad City like they did against Green Bay, and it's going to be more or less, and yes, they got the offense going against Orlando, but they did have a pick 6 with Keyshawn Moore tipping the ball at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. So can you get the offense going? Can both these teams get the offense going? Well, for the over, yeah, you kind of have to. Kind of have to here. My prediction for this one is going to be 49-44 in favor of Quad City. Oh, there you go. Just ballsy pick, right? No, I do think Quad City is the better team in this one. They might not show it on the records. They might not show it as of late, but what I saw against Green Bay, and when you look and take into consideration the teams that Quad City has played, I think it's been a better sample, whether it's been Fishers, Green Bay, yes, they played Iowa, they played Orlando. Look at who San Diego's played. Northern Arizona, they beat them by 2. Had to come back to beat Tucson and beat them only by 6, and then they got trounced by Arizona. I think maybe Tucson is a playoff team, so we know Arizona's going to make the playoffs. I mean, call a spade a spade. So with that, I think Quad City's just played a better sample of teams, and they've won 2 of those games. They had a chance to beat Orlando, and it's really the Fishers game that's the outlier there. So I'm picking Quad City in this one. Yes, the away record scares the hell out of me. Yes, I know I'm going back to the Homer well. I will gladly, sip the water from that well, but I like Quad City in this one. Not shocked whatsoever if San Diego takes it, mainly due to the fact that, did I say San Antonio? I think either way, San Diego. If I said San Antonio, I meant San Diego. I apologize. But I like San Diego to win this if their offense can get clicking and if they can make Quad City one-dimensional. Start forcing some mistakes and seeing if they can shut them down. Royce C is going to play a big game in this one, and we'll see if Alex Harriott and that defensive line for Quad City can make Nate Davis uncomfortable. I think, honestly, it's not necessarily making Nate Davis uncomfortable. Can you stop Edward Vander? The dude's been on a tear. He played really well against Northern Arizona. He's played really well against Tucson. Can you corral him? Because we've seen drops by Dallas Daniels. We've seen overthrows. We've seen the interceptions. Nate Davis can make mistakes. Can you have the other players make mistakes too? And that's where we have it with that. For San Diego, it's kind of the same thing. Can you corral Kean Williams? Okay, well, Jordan Vesey and Kevon Rudd, if they choose to break out, can you stop Jared Ware? He's caught a lot of passes out of the backfield. He's caught touchdowns. He just juked guys out of their jocks, man. I mean, these 2 teams are pretty similar. One just runs it a lot more than the other. The defenses leave a little bit to be desired, but they do get after the quarterback. They do force turnovers. Like, these 2 teams are pretty similar when you actually get kind of down to it. So we'll see how it kind of goes. I like this game. I mean, I'm going to be watching this game. So, yeah, again, jealous of Trey for being at the game, so screw you, man. But anyway, I wish I was there. Beautiful, sunny fucking California. I'm over here getting tornadoes and stuff in freaking Kansas. Stupid. Anyway, we need to wrap up and get out of here, but that's where we have it. It's 49-44 in favor of the Steamwheelers. We have an over 84.5. And you know how much I do not like taking over and unders? I do like this one, and that means we're going to go under. So have a 34-28 victory or something, man. But let's wrap up. Let's get out of here. And that is it for our preview for our Friday games in Week 6 of the Indoor Football League. Don't go anywhere, though. We got plenty more. We got 5 more games after this, man. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I love Chappelle's Show. If you've never seen Chappelle's Show, go watch it. You're doing yourself a disservice, man. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have 5 games left. We got 3 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. We'll preview them. We'll recap them all after the games are all said and done and everything like that. I've got a special surprise coming out, Saturday morning. Be there on Shady Sports Network as I work with them and everything else. Go check out Around the Indoor Football World and all of that stuff. I hope I have the name in my head correctly. If not, I apologize. But you know the show. You've seen the show. If you haven't, go check it out. Go give Shady Sports a shout out and a look and a subscription and everything like that, just like you should do for my channel. You should like, comment, share, subscribe, or don't. I don't care. But definitely go check out Shady Sports because they deserve it, because they're doing the most with the hosts that do the most, or something like that. I don't know. Again, brains frizzled, man. I'm tired. I got a lot going on here this weekend. Man, I wish I could kind of spoil it, but I'm not going to. Not right now, but in due time. Anyway, I will chat with you guys in the previews for Saturday. I'll chat with you guys in the previews for Sunday. If I get the recaps out in time or whatever it could be, go from there. But until then, I will check you guys out in the next video, or you guys will check me out, I guess. Gross, don't check me out. Ugly. Again, brain fried. I'm done. I'm all over the place, man. I'm getting delusional. But anyway, I'm going to take off, you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Until then, see you.